Oklahoma's newest Congressman Josh Brecheen kicked off his time in Washington by being part of a historic battle to elect a House Speaker. 5 days, 15 rounds of voting. Kevin McCarthy has secured the gavel, of course, about 11 days ago now. So Representative Josh Brecheen is joining us in studio right now to talk about that and just what's kind of going on in Washington. Good morning and thank you for coming in.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So tell us about the vote to elect now Speaker McCarthy. What kind of concessions were made from the group of 20, I guess, that you were a part of? What kind of concessions were made there?
So I think it would be shocking to most people to understand that for the last 6 years that the Congress has not allowed from the floor a single amendment from the rank and file to be offered. I think most people think of Congress as a deliberative body, and to know as a newly elected member that I would have no opportunity to amend bills from the floor without 9 members who choose what amendments are allowed. And so that is not the historic practice of Congress. And so one of the great concessions we obtained was the ability on all general appropriation bills to be able to, from the floor, to be able to offer amendments, and specifically amendments to cut spending. I'm one of those people that's thoroughly convinced that we've got to right-size our fiscal house because our country's in trouble.
And how would you do that in terms of Representative cutting agencies, cutting programs? How would you achieve, and what do you want to achieve with the fiscal reforms that you're looking to do?
So I think what also is even more shocking is most people don't realize just our total spend, how we keep upticking. We went from 2 years ago spending $4.5 trillion. We're going to spend $6 trillion. And so percentage cut reductions can be a tremendous help to us. Just going back to the 2022 levels can be $150 billion worth of savings. That's another concession we got from Speaker McCarthy, is if we end up with a continuing resolution, then we start with a 2% cut. We're a nation that within 10 years is going to be looking at $1 trillion annual debt service payments. That's money flushed down the toilet, the CBO's telling us. And then within 28 years, the CBO's telling us that half of our budget's just going to be interest on our debt. We're on an unsustainable path. And so we have to get serious. We have to mature as legislators and stop the free candy mentality. If we don't start buying vegetables as a nation, our country's going to go the way of history.
And I wanted to talk also, of course, the classified document happening, where we have classified documents found at former President Biden's think tank, or former Vice President Biden's think tank, and President Biden's Delaware home. Where do you see a potential congressional investigation going with these classified document discoveries?
That's another concession that we were able to obtain. I mean, there were lots. I mean, that 4-day standoff was meaningful. We got some historic practices put back in place. One of those is the church-style committee, to be able to look at the DOJ, to be able to look at the CIA and see where our government's being weaponized against us. And so it's really interesting. After the 4-day standoff, 2 days later, we all of a sudden, the Justice Department starts exposing these findings within, Biden, within his garage, within his think tank. And so that's just 2 days after we got these concessions, and we're going to have a church-style committee to start looking inside these agencies.
And you mentioned 2 agencies. Would that also include the FBI? You mentioned the CIA?
Yes, under the Department of Justice. That's correct.
All right. Well, here at 847, Representative Josh Brecheen, I know you're a busy man. 11 days, 12 days since you were sworn in, and I'm sure you've had a lot of stuff to do. So we thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.